Hello and welcome to Moneylife. This is Sucheta Dalal. This week I'm going to talk about something different. We are all celebrating the fact that India is now the fourth largest economy. We've beaten Japan. We all know that below this lovely headline number, we have a lot of poverty and people on the ground who need to change, who need to be pulled along. I'm going to talk about agriculture and farmers today. The last attempt to overhaul agriculture through three controversial laws because they were forced down people's throats ended in a fiasco. The laws were repealed, committee was set up, and now things are in limbo. So nothing has moved for the last 2-3 years. Meanwhile, government is doing its bit. So scheme after scheme to help farmers is announced. In fact, they have multiplied without enough results. Government efforts have largely been through cooperatives, and this is going on from the mid 1900s. There are credit schemes, government is talking about infrastructure, and there have been few landmark successes over the last 60 years. The Green Revolution is one of them. The Milk Revolution is one of them, both spearheaded by legendary, unusual people. But having said that, the scale and impact in relation to India's rapidly growing population over that same period has remained modest. We all know about the legendary Verghese Kurian, who set up the Anand Milk Union, best known as Amul to all of us. It was founded in 1946. It is the crown jewel of this whole cooperative effort. It converted India from a milk shortage country to the leading milk producer in the world. It is now a national brand with highly advanced labs, cold chains, diverse product range. It has everything from milks, ice cream, chocolates, biscuits, what have you, and of course, wonderful cheeses. Dr. Verghese went on to set up the National Dairy Development Board, which was another spectacular success, though mired in plenty of controversy, as anyone who reads Moneylife would know. There are other cooperative efforts of the government. The Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative, which is IFCO, established in 1967 for fertilizer supply. CRIPCO and Kerala's Farm Fed, which supports farmers with technical and marketing assistance. Then there's the government, which is working at digitizing 63,000 primary agricultural cooperative societies to improve access to 130 million small landholders. Why are we narrating all this? Because you need to know how much of money and an effort is being put into doing things for farmers, but due to various reasons, everything remains dysfunctional. So apart from these initiatives, you have digital initiatives. Digital India, BharatNet, which is supposed to promote precision farming using drones, robots, connectivity. Then you have programs like Agriculture Accelerator Fund, Startup India, with infrastructure development, warehouses, cold storage as a backup. The latest, launched in 2020 by the Prime Minister, was the Farmer Producer Organizations. These are FPOs where everybody has to sign up, and it was aimed at boosting collective bargaining among small farmers. Until 2025, the government says it has created 10,000 FPOs backed by plenty of government credit, nearly 7,000 crores in funding for financial aid, equity grants, and credit guarantees. Have you heard of it? Has it made a difference? We don't know. Not enough that it is significant. Because according to me, Indian agriculture remains limited, dysfunctional. Farmer distress is real. Farmer suicides continue every other day. We're reading about them. And the situation is gloomy. Big fat silver lining over here is private efforts by highly skilled technology oriented companies which are using tech to transform Indian agriculture. They're small efforts so far, but they're all aiming at tapping this market, fixing inefficiencies, and making it more efficient while also more profitable for farmers. So there's a lot of hope over here. One of them, a big success, is Nashik's Sayadri Farms. It's a 12-year-old cooperative. It has 18,000 farmers in Nashik. And it stands out because it has 30,000 acres of land and an integrated processing facility, marketing, and the key objective is fair play for smallholders. Another is Kisan Connect, relatively smaller, which is direct to consumer, links 5,000 farmers, is limited to Mumbai and Pune, but pretty good. I use it myself. There are other efforts. all tech oriented, many of them set up by IIT engineers. Ninja Cart, focusing on fresh produce supply chains. They Heart, offering end to end services to farmers through 8,000 centers. Intello Labs, which is using artificial intelligence for crop health monitoring and to get real time information. Stell Apps, automating dairy supply chains. Cropin for precision farming. Bijak facilitates digital lending. Waycool, Agri-App, Ergos, all working at improving supply chain and storage logistics. You're getting the picture where the problem is. Supply chain, storage, logistics, and high cost of intermediation. There is also Krish Hub, which is using AI to reduce vegetable wastage by 25%. AgriBazaar has brokered thousands of crores of rupees in online farm trade. All this is wonderful. Different diverse efforts aimed at a particular segment which they think if they fix, there is profits to be made for them and help the farmers. But to my mind, one of the most ambitious efforts is Harvesting Farmers Network, HFN. It was founded by Ruchit Garg, who has a very interesting story. He is an Indian who came from Lucknow and went through a lot of hardship in his personal life, moved to the US, worked with Microsoft for over a decade, had his own startup called Nine Slides, which he sold, he says, not at a huge profit, but making some money. And then one fine day decided that he wants to move back with his family to India with a singular mission to make small farms viable with the intelligent use of data. Soon after he came back, COVID happened. That's when he launched HFN as a handle on Twitter or X. It's called at Harvesting FN. And it was an experiment where he decided to put out data and connect farmers directly to one another via X and WhatsApp. Within days, the handle had 15,000 followers and became a lifeline for many distressed farmers across India. And he realized there is something over here, something that could grow into something big. And so it's low tech at one end, social media platforms, X and WhatsApp, but added to it his tech skills led to a high impact strategy that allowed farmers to access markets, request information, sell produce because he kept building and growing around it. The initial learnings from his experiment have been used to build a network of 3 million farmers and 8,900, nearly 9,000 local intermediaries whom they call Kisan Sarthis or just Sarthis or helpers. These are essentially agriculture university graduates who are trained and equipped by HFN to build clusters, coordinate logistics, and guide farmers on pricing and quality. Let's look at the details of how this works. So in 2022, first of all, he raised money. He raised 4 million from social capital and he has the backing of some really well-known philanthropists which helped him expand his reach. HFN's success is primarily rooted in building trust. That's what Richard Garg says. We had the pleasure of meeting him recently and hear firsthand to his stories. HFN looks at data verification. Farmer identities are verified through Aadhaar and PAN. Transactions are handheld from payment collection to transportation because there's no trust. As he says, someone in Chennai wants to buy apples from Kashmir. You don't know whether the transaction in India is going to happen, whether it's genuine, whether you'll get the payment, whether you'll get the delivery, and most important, whether you will get the quality. So the trust layer is key, and it's at the core of HFN's model. The principle is that small farmers can't scale up individually, but they can cooperate and derive benefits from scale. Now, he says he doesn't believe in contracts because you have a piece of paper, you make them sign something. It's not even in India, no contract is enforceable. So it's not enforceable. So what he tells us is one of the core problems with smallholder farmers is that they're small. And I can't make them big, but I can help them work together. The Sarthi model does just this. It's an entrepreneurial model. Initial support is provided by HFN, lots of training and an app and data. So each Sarthi is provided estimates of the potential market through satellite imagery and AI-powered analytics around a certain area. And the Sarthi is told that this is your potential market. If you go and talk to farmers and put them onto a group and create clusters. So you have a phone, an app, you have the data, you know what you can possibly earn. If it interests you, you go out and start building a community of farmers, small farmers, and tell them how they can deliver their produce, get better realization, and this is then collated and sold to larger buyers, maybe quick commerce companies with whom HFN has tied up. Farmers participating in HFN's supply chain have seen earnings grow by 2.5 times on an average, thanks to market access, quality grading, packing, and logistics support. How does this work? HFN operates in 13,000 villages today, primarily in Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, and parts of the Northeast. By May 2025, Mr. Garg tells us that the network had moved 750,000 kilos of fruit and vegetable. The number looks big, but as he points out, it's a very modest figure as compared to India's total potential and need. So it now plans to roll out 100 fully automated micro mandis. These are spaces of about 5,000 square feet, which he plans to equip with robotic grading and robots and AI for inventory management. So they will sort, grade, put things in crates and place them in a way and at a particular space so that what needs to go out first will go out first, particular grade will go out first, and it'll be managed with a minimal staff. As Ruchit Garg says, it's not about scaling alone, but about consistency, accountability, and fraud prevention. So robots take care of most of that, the fraud prevention part. Sorting is automated. Packing to an extent possible is what he plans to automate. And the goal eventually is to get better prices for farmers with better quality and reduced waste by better inventory management. He's experimenting all over the country. So, among the experiments, while core areas are what I mentioned earlier, he has worked with Meghalaya, where 20,000 kilos of ginger were exported to South Africa, apples from Kashmir, chilies from Manipur, all kinds of things have happened around the country, each of these providing learnings. Now he's got on to offline Kisan centers, HFN Kisan centers. They are in 700 districts. They not only do all this grading, sorting, pull all the stuff collected, sent by Kisan Sarthis. They also sell seeds, fertilizers, value-added products, including oil at reasonable rates. The company is also exploring real-time crop health detection via WhatsApp photos and AI diagnostics. The key here is data. Data is the new oil, as someone famously said. So the greatest long-term asset may not be the marketplace as much as the data that he's able to gather. By tracking crop patterns, acreage, market demand across thousands of villages across India, he will be in a position to predict gluts and shortages in real time. In real time, he says in agriculture is monthly data. Data is simply not available. So he says, for instance, that if you get a good price for onions this season, every farmer rushes to grow onions. There's a glut and prices crash. People cry. They don't get a realization. There's enormous distress. So, according to Richard Garg, he will now be able to tell farmers after a certain amount of planting, because he has real-time data, that don't do onions anymore. There's going to be a glut. Plant something else. And that will address the root cause of oversupply and price crashes. In fact, this intelligence could not only help farmers but policymakers as well. The idea is to put out data through anybody who the farmers will trust. The goal is not to become a consultancy company, but build a self-sustaining ecosystem that rewards farmers' trust with economic returns. Now, he's quite aware that he needs a large network to create this market, and he needs a market to build the network. So it's a chicken and egg situation, and the attempt is to try and do both simultaneously to gain size. India's agriculture, as you can see, needs many things: better irrigation, insurance, storage, transparency in pricing, the biggest issue over here, and clarity of policies. But above all, it needs new models of cooperation and coordination which are agile, which are not dependent on government agencies because they have lots of leakages, restrictions, and inefficiencies. So the whole scenario has to be reimagined. It's lovely that so many people are doing it at different points. To my mind, HFN looks very promising. Mr. Garg, of course, is conscious of the fact that to grow as planned, he needs to create a track record. This requires consistent delivery, better prices, rewarding farmers over a 3 to 4 year period so that he builds trust among the farmers. But he says he's in for the long haul. As he points out, India has 6.6 lakh villages, and what he's operating in is barely scratching 10,000 or tens of thousands. So there's a long way to go. There's a big market for everyone. There's a need to grow tremendously to transform India, because this is really transforming India from the soil upwards and from within. It's not about big headline GDP numbers which do not tell you the distress below the ground, because we are not talking about the few rich people who are changing and accounting for this. We have to take everybody along to make India really a developed nation. If you agree, spread the word. I mean, after all, this is good news that we need to share. If you like it, subscribe to this channel.